My father died on a Tuesday, and I didn't cry. I need you to understand that before I tell you the rest, because by the end of this, you'll understand why I couldn't. And you'll understand what finally broke me 3 days later, alone in his empty house, with the rain coming down outside. My father's name was Henry. He was a hard man, not cruel. I want to be fair to him, even now, but hard, closed. In 41 years, I never once heard him say that he loved me. Not when I graduated, not at my wedding, not when my own son was born. He'd shake my hand. He'd say, "Drive safe." That was his version of it, I told myself. And for most of my life, I didn't believe even that. I grew up thinking I was a disappointment to him. He worked all the time. Nights, weekends, double shifts at a plant an hour away. He was never there. He missed my games, my school plays, every birthday I can remember. He'd come home after I was asleep and be gone before I woke up. We had no money and a father-shaped hole in the house, and I blamed him for both. The worst of it was a basketball game. I was 17. The county championship. The one game that mattered to me more than anything. I'd told him the date for weeks. I scanned the bleachers before the tip-off, and he wasn't there. We won. I scored the shot that won it. And I looked up into the crowd for the one face I wanted to see, and it wasn't there. I decided that night that I was done needing him, and mostly, I kept that promise. So we drifted, the way fathers and sons do when neither one knows the words. I moved away. I called on holidays. Our conversations lasted 4 minutes. How's work? Fine. Drive safe. For 20 years. Then last week, a nurse called to tell me he was gone. His heart. Quick, she said, like that was a kindness. I drove the 4 hours back to the town I grew up in. I stood at his funeral beside a handful of old men I didn't recognize. And I felt nothing. Nothing but a strange, hollow guilt that I felt nothing at all. The box was in the closet of his bedroom. I almost didn't open it. It was an old shoe box, soft at the corners. The kind of thing you'd throw out without looking twice. But something made me sit down on the edge of his bed, in that silent house, and lift the lid. Inside were letters, dozens of them, each one in his blocky, careful handwriting, each one with a date, and every single one of them was addressed to me. He had written me a letter every year, on my birthday, for 41 years. And he had never sent a single one. I want to tell you that I understood right away. I didn't. I just started reading. From the top, from the most recent, working backwards through his life and mine. The early ones were short. You turned one today. You grabbed my finger and wouldn't let go. I worked a double to pay the hospital, but I came home, and you grabbed my finger. I didn't know what hospital he meant, so I kept reading. I was 3 months old, it turned out, when I got sick. Something with my lungs. I have no memory of it. My father never mentioned it once in 41 years, but the letters did. "We almost lost you," he wrote. The bills were more than I made in 2 years, so I took the night shift at the plant, and then I took the weekend shift too. Because I was never, ever going to let it come down to money again. Not with you. That was it. That was the whole thing. Every absence I had resented, every missed game, every empty birthday, every night he came home after I was already asleep. He had been an hour away, on a factory floor, paying off the debt of my own life. A debt he never told me about. Because he wrote, "I didn't want you to grow up thinking you were something that had to be paid for. And then I found the letter from the year I was 17. And I had to stop. I had to put it down and pick it back up 3 times. He'd written, "I drove 90 minutes after my shift to get to your championship game tonight. I parked and I ran. I got there in the 3rd quarter and I stood at the very top, in the back, where you wouldn't see me, because I was still in my work clothes and I smelled like the plant, and I didn't want to embarrass you. I watched you take that last shot. I watched it go in. I have never in my life been prouder of anything than I was of you in that 1 second. And then I had to leave before the buzzer because I had a 4 a.m. shift. And I cried the whole drive home. I'm sorry I couldn't stay. I'm sorry you didn't know I was there." He was there. For 30 years, the defining wound of my life had been that my father didn't come to my game. And he had been standing at the back of that gym the entire time, in his work clothes, crying, too proud of me to let me see him. The last letter in the box was dated 3 months ago. The handwriting was shakier. He must have known by then that his heart was failing. He didn't mention it. Instead, he finally wrote the only thing he never managed to say to my face. "Son, if you're reading this, then I never found the courage to give these to you while I could still look at you. That was my failing, not yours. I never learned how to say the thing, so I tried to do the thing instead. Every shift was me saying it. Every drive safe was me saying it. I need you to know, you were not a disappointment to me. You were the one thing in my life I got right. I love you. I always did. I just said it in a language you couldn't hear. And that is the only thing in this whole life I would do differently. Don't carry this. I did the carrying. That was always my job. Go and be happy. Dad." I sat in that empty house and I finally cried. For the father I thought I'd had, and for the one I actually did. For all the years I'd spent being angry at a man who was, the entire time, an hour down the road, loving me in the only way he knew how. I called my own son that night. He's 11. I just wanted to hear him talk about nothing. His game, his friends, some show I don't understand. And before I hung up, I told him I loved him, the way I always do. Because I had promised myself a long time ago that my son would never once go without hearing it. But that night, I understood something I hadn't before. My father said it too. Every single day of my life. I just never learned how to listen. It's raining tonight. I have the box beside me. And if you still have a father who loves you in a language you haven't learned to hear yet, the gruff one, the quiet one, the one who says drive safe instead of the word, please, learn it now, while the letters can still be answered. Don't wait for the box.